Hey Matt, how are you? Nice to see you, mate.
Okay.
Very well.
So, Matt, Riley, thank you for joining me again on the live stream. So, if you've got those questions, remember, CB Live 18, we'll put them to Matt, see if we can get them answered. If they're sensible questions, that is. So, Matt, how's it gone today for you? You're at the event, it's Channel Live, it's busy, as people here.
It's busy. It's brilliant, isn't it? You know, it really is. There's a lot of people here, I think, from early doors as well.
Yeah.
I think I got here at 9:30. There were a lot of people like sort of queuing up and coming in.
I think you may have had something to do with that, Matt.
I doubt that.
So what do you notice looking around at an event like this? You've come to our events over the years, and you know.
I think the first thing I noticed, and I think I said this on stage, was just the diversity of the different people on the stands now. And what I mean by that is the different backgrounds that they've come from a technology perspective. So you're seeing a lot more IT guys here than you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Sky are here. I'm just asking, like, what's Sky doing here? Just interesting to see some, very big brand names at the channel show. So it's just brilliant. I think it's great for the channel.
Well, we did have that keynote earlier, didn't we, where we had a bit of a chat on stage. Quite a few key messages that came out of that. Where do we start? Should we talk about the M&A side? Obviously, there's a lot going on in the channel right now. You're fueling some of that, or you were fueling some of that. But what's the strategy now for Daisy?
Yeah, I think if you look at the channel at the moment, it is being fueled by M&A. There's a lot of sort of consolidation going on in the market. There's been a lot of talk about the bigger players sort of consolidating themselves. So, you're seeing that with, the talk about whether Vodafone are going to buy Virgin in the UK. We've seen it with BT, EE. So I think there's further consolidation to happen over the next 5 years at that level. But I think that filters all the way down. And I think the channels are, abreast of loads of new entrants, loads of exciting, vibrant businesses that people trying to make some money and, want an exit. So I think it will continue, certainly in the short to medium term, of people, buying and selling.
Okay, and Daisy might have something to do with some of those business exiting the
I'm sure we will do.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
So just thinking about the channel, Matt, I mean, we were talking to Richard and both the Richards and Paul earlier about the change between coming from a telecoms reseller to a UC provider to an MSP.
Yeah.
So it's a real aggregated business now.
Yeah.
And I know how much of a low threshold you have for acronyms.
Yeah.
So how do we act as a channel now? What do you see us? What are we? Is it an IT? Are we an IT provider, or are we a communications industry?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I always try and do it from a customer perspective. So what does a customer think we offer them? And I would say we offer them the ability to be able to communicate with their customers.
Yep.
So that's anything, isn't it? Whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's a telephone system of some sort to be able to communicate, telephone lines of some sort, whether it be SIP or whatever. They don't really need to know that, do they?
No.
I always give the example of my mate who's got a car dealership. All he wants to do is sell cars and sell finance actually, and then sell service packs.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care about what technology, how he gets people in. He wants to pay as little as possible for it, and he wants to probably just have one, what I class as throat to choke. Some people say hand to shake, don't they? But I think it's more often the case someone wants to throttle you, and delivering that service. So I think the channel needs to think about what the customer wants, and what I hear from the customer is that they just want to deal with one or two suppliers rather than 5 or 6, and they just want you to keep it really simple for them, and so they can actually understand it. Because I think we are in danger of overcomplicating things ourselves for the customer.
But that's certainly true. Having had quite a history of working, particularly in the network environment, a lot of change seems to be now driven by our own consumer habits.
Yeah.
We're a lot more savvy than we ever were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So is that quite refreshing to be able to actually take feedback in from customers and deliver that back?
Yeah, it
back
is.
down
It's
the train?
it's so refreshing. You get things like being able to explain to my wife, for instance, what's the cloud. When you hear about cloud all the time. It's just dead simple. You go, your Apple device, and you've got all your photos and you store it back to the cloud. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But what is it? It's a data center. Where is it? It could be anywhere. You don't need to worry about it. But just the fact that that backup facility through Apple has made someone who's really not technical at all really understand it, and that does help. But I think what we've got to learn from as a channel is keeping it simple like Apple do.
Yeah.
You've got to keep it simple. They've not overcomplicated that, have they? You've just got, do you want to back up your phone?
They've delivered it
It's
really
$3.99 a month.
Yeah.
And then once you use that much, it's fine. That type of, and I think we've got to learn from that consumer behaviour of driving that for businesses, because You know, I don't know what the percentage will be, but most people will listen to an iPhone, won't they, in business? So.
You gave an interesting answer to a question earlier in the keynote about what you would do if you started up again, blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
Do you want to take us through the key messages in there?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question for a start. I mean, first of all, would I stay in channel? Yes, I probably would, because I've got a lot of experience in it. I think there's a real opportunity for anyone that is in the channel to sell to businesses in the UK, because they've been sold to in a way that's been quite compartmentalised. So you've had, I do IT, so I'll look after your LAN, and I'll do your antivirus, and I'll do your servers, and that's one business. And again, there's not many national ones of those, few and far between, and if they are, they tend to be serving the really high-end corporate market, not your SMB market. So you get a lot more IT resellers that are localised, that will look after their local town. I can think of one in Burnley, for instance, where I'm from, that's like that. And then you had someone doing mobile, and that would be normally one of the big mobile networks. That's changed, hasn't it? Because we can all offer that. And then you had your voice providers. So I think what I would do is I'd look at something like ISDN, which is going to be phased out by BT, as we know, by 2025. So if you're going to be selling someone a telephone system in the next 5 years, you've got to think about that, because in 7 years, if they hit the deadline, which they may or may not do, but if they do hit their headline, if they do hit their deadline, then they've got to have a product that's fit for purpose. So I would be looking at a SIP offering, a cloud UC offering, to go out into that customer base. And people like BT have got a big legacy base of customers that are on these legacy products. And they've got the dilemma, do I change my customer over now, or do I wait to make more money out of them for another year? Big question.
Yeah, huge
so,
question.
Matt, how do you feel the channel is set up? Because you're talking about the PBX telephone systems there. Yeah. So, for the legacy, there was a lot of OPEX, sorry, a lot of CAPEX in going into equipment for people's infrastructures. How do you think the channel has been able to develop their offering to move towards an OPEX model where people are expecting to pay a monthly fee for the services they consume?
Yeah. And again, I think it's customer-led, isn't it? The customer doesn't want the CAPEX expenditure, so they don't want to spend every 3 years X amount on a small key system. They just don't want to do that, but they're happy to pay 300 quid a month on a UC offering. So I think the channels had to adopt, and we saw it early doors, because we were quite early adopters. We bought a company called BNS, and they were really at what I'd call the knife edge. So they're at the cutting edge, i.e. they weren't making that much money out of it at that stage, and it kept going over.
Did you change that,
yeah, we did change that, yeah. We changed it 2 ways. We made it a lot more stable, and then we also made it so that economies of scale on the BroadSoft platform allowed it to make money. The thing that we struggle with is trying to get salespeople to change their mindset. So they understood selling this bit of tin and getting that much commission, because they normally sell it on a 5-year lease. So I think one of the products that we brought into channel is doing that on a lease, so they can still sell it in that way, so they think they're going to make that, whereas the customer pays monthly. Yeah. So I think that's the way the channels move, but it's taken some changing, and it's taken some changing to get the finance companies to facilitate that as well, because they used to like the fact it was a bit of tin. Oh yeah, but I can go and collect that. And actually, but what I always say to me is, it's even easier if it's in our data center. We can completely control it. Dink. But it's taken a while, and I think we're getting there now. We certainly see all our sales guys absolutely get it, and they're selling it. I think channel as well. And again, through Daisy Wholesale, we're starting to push that product more and more from a financing perspective, where we can actually finance it for them.
What keeps Matthew Varney up at night? What's whizzing around in your head that,
God.
you know...
That's a dangerous question. Yeah. No, I mean, from a business perspective, it's just how can we go quicker? Yeah. You know, I look at it and I think, how can we go faster? How can we do some of the things that we're doing? And you look at some of your peers. So what one company I really admire is Softcat. So look at what Softcat have done in a direct sales perspective from an IT reseller. It's just phenomenal growth. And you just look at people like that and you just go, they've just kept the model really simple. They've got a direct sales model for them. It works really well. They take a load of graduates on, they do a milk round, they get them in bright young things, and they get them out there and they get selling. And no one's told them they can't do it. So and it's just worked, and they're phenomenal. So I take a lot of sort of thinking about, why can't we do more of that? We've got to reinvent ourselves. Yeah. So I'm constantly trying to reinvent the business and the way we go to market.
That's why the channel's so special, isn't it? Because
It
you
is,
can
it's
take
brilliant.
concepts, ideas from different people and develop them for your own business.
Yeah, and you can try things. You know, we've tried things that have worked, and we've tried things that haven't worked. But you've not got to beat yourself up. You've just got to be very quick to like can them and get onto something that is going to work.
Yeah.
But you've got to try things, haven't you?
You do, and I think in this room today, it's a nice environment. It is competitive, but it's a friendly rivalry.
I agree.
So that you feel that you can go and ask another principal from another business.
I totally agree, and I think the channel's really good at that. And I think, I know most of the other channel players, because we all chat, and everyone would think you'd be at each other's throats. It's actually further from the truth. I've got some of my best mates in channel, that I've known for nearly 20 years. I mean, we bought James Murray's business a couple of years ago. I knew James for nearly 20 years, You forget, don't you? And like we go shooting together, we get on really well together. And it's brilliant to be able to see him decide that, he wanted to take that stage in life where he wanted to do something different and take some cash off the table. To be able to do that's brilliant, and it does make the channel great. My view is we're competing against BT, right? That's kind of who I'm competing against all the time. So, and even then I'm friendly with, because you buy off them. They're sort of enemies, frenemies, do they call them or whatever? So we buy off them and they're great from a wholesale perspective. But then direct, we're head to head and we want to compete and we will compete.
Amazing. Well, so what are we expecting to see out of Daisy over the next year or two? What?
Yeah, well, I think you're going to see some great new product launches on the wholesale stand. So we've got some new products that we're going to put into channel around IT. I was just talking to one of the resellers then. I said, why aren't you selling printers? And he looked at me as I was mad. I said, well, your customer's buying printers and he's buying all the peripherals for it and you're not supplying it, and you can do it and make a nice margin and it's hassle-free. Mm-hmm. So it's that type of thing that we want to get more of the customer's wallet share. And it goes back to the question, what does a customer want? They actually need all these things, don't they? And if they can get them from a single source at the right price, and you've got the right credit terms, I think it kind of works. So I think you're going to see a lot more innovation from us on that, and I think you're going to see possibly some more acquisitions of a bigger scale over the next 2 to 3 years. What you will absolutely see is buying smaller resellers. So we're looking for more channel partners that are already wholesale partners that we can write a big check to. We can go and sit on a beach for a couple of months, then probably get bored and want to come back and set up again. Great, I'm happy with that. That's what we want to do more of.
Brilliant. Well, that's absolutely fascinating to speak to you, Matthew, as always.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of time. Should we have a quick quiz?
Yeah,
do you fancy a quiz?
Questions are really hard, Matt.
This is interesting.
So, this is what is on offer.
Okay.
We've got the head massager. We've got a shoehorn, back scratch. Only the best. Okay, only the best.
Wow.
We've got to grow your own unicorn over that side.
David, how busy was that petrol station on the way up?
They couldn't believe their luck when I walked in, I tell you. So, what are we going to go for? Let's go for a slightly easier one because we've been stumping people. Okay. Which company commercially released the world's first compact disc player in 1982? Was it Alba, Panasonic, Sony, or Motorola?
Sony.
Being first one right.
Matt.
Typically
well
Riley, well done. Take your pick.
Wow.
What would you like?
I'll have a unicorn.
Unicorn.
Just
why
what
not?
I've always wanted.
Yeah.
I'd like to build a unicorn.
There you go. Well, it's grow your own. So there you go.
Grow your own.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the show. It's going to be a great 2 days. Great 2 days for you. Come down if you're not already. There's everything to do with channel here. We love it.
Yeah.
We love Daisy. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Cheers,
Paul.
Matt.
Yes.
Take care.